Welcome to Scale With Us, the podcast for business owners navigating the absolute chaos of scaling a business and juggling all that life throws at you along the way.
Each week, we'll be talking about our wins and fails and everything in between because let's be real, it's not all smooth scaling.
So grab a drink, settle in, and let's get into it. Is this thing on? Yeah, we're on. Good morning.
Morning.
We just gave away, we're filming in the morning.
Yes, we've got our coffees.
Well, it's a good way to start. What are we drinking today? We are drinking our coffees. What have you got in your delicious cup today?
Almond cap with 1 sugar. What about yourself?
I'm on a long black topped with oat milk.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've gone on to the long blacks. I just find it less milky. And I'm even like a non-dairy person. So if I had a cap or a latte, I would have like an almond one.
Yeah.
But even that, like when you get an iced one, it's very, I don't know. And people on the sound are going to hear they can't see my gestures right now, but
you're like,
go to the YouTube video and watch it there. I'm full of milk.
Yeah.
So no, I'm finding the long black's good. And well, it's very low calorie
Yes,
as well.
We're very
and we're on our
calorie
new
conscious
year,
these days.
health conscious still. So yeah. Are you like a non-dairy person?
I am. I'm lactose intolerant.
Oh, completely.
Completely.
Did
you not know that?
I knew you're gluten-free. I didn't know.
Yeah. I choose to ignore the dairy.
I choose to ignore
Like
it.
I like chocolate and cheese.
And what
but I
happens?
just
Do you
won't have
get
milk.
so that's fine. Like it doesn't upset you, or do you have something you take with it?
It depends. If I have a little bit of chocolate and cheese every day,
You don't feel great.
I do not feel good at
We
all.
won't go into the fine details.
Yeah, please no.
The listeners at home don't need to hear that.
But if I had milk, I would be in like a world of pain.
Yeah, I'm the same. If I was going to say if I accidentally eat ice cream, but I mean, look, it hasn't just accidentally happened. If I choose to, let's take ownership of that decision, eat like dairy ice cream or drink a lot of milk or something, like I'm the same. Do not feel good. But it's actually like, it's crazy how common it is now. Because I remember I was dairy free, I don't know, very long time ago. And I was like on the road traveling for work and stuff. Anywhere I went, I'd be like, oh, do you have like any non-dairy milk? And soy was probably the only option.
Same, yeah.
And now it's like, everywhere you go.
Yep.
And you pay extra for it.
You do.
And actually, it's easier to get milk from an almond than a cow.
Well, I don't know. I have no idea. I think they just take advantage. It's like, it's gluten-free stuff as well. It's everywhere. You can go most places now and get gluten-free pizza base or whatever, and they still charge you. Anyway, but yes.
And another thing.
Yeah. Let's not get on that tangent.
But it's funny because there's a lot of people, a lot of clients I'll go and see and have coffee with, and it's not now the exception. It's like it's more common for people to have. And even my partner Taylor, shout out to Taylor, he was like, oh no, like I'm still dairy, and now he's on the almond milks and he's converted.
I'm sure Clint is also lactose intolerant, and he just chooses to ignore it. So every time he has a whinge, I'm like, I don't want to hear it because
probably the same, like when you've had your chocolate and your cheese.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's probably like, well, I'm not accepting that whinging from you now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, today's episode is not about dairy and intolerances and the problems that come along with that. Yeah. But yes, we are having our non-dairy coffees, and that's what we're drinking. And what's on your mind this week? What are you thinking?
Well, this morning has been a very lovely change for me because Clint was at home, not at work today, so he got to do the whole mum juggle that I would normally do. And January
does Clint listen to this podcast?
He does.
Oh, damn.
Yes.
So you have
sucked in, Clint.
Everything's fine. We love you, Clint.
No, but January was pretty good. Like they were both still going to daycare. So one drop off, one, it's all the same thing. And now I've got Jovi at school, at big girl school.
Yeah.
And the 2 drop offs and oh my God, I can't
more logistics.
The logistics of it. And Ella now wants to be a big girl. So when she knows that Jovi's going to big school, she wants to go to big school. So how do you tell a 3-year-old, no, you've still got to go to daycare? And it's just, it's like,
you tell your 3-year-old no?
Yeah, I know. I know. Yes. So this morning was a nice change. I was like, bye. Out of the house.
Didn't have to do it.
I didn't have to do it. But yeah, I feel like it's
we'll do a live call to Clinton.
Yeah,
how are you?
He's like drinking it 10 o'clock.
He's got espresso martinis already.
Yeah. So yeah, just the juggle. And I knew it was coming, but I didn't think it was going to be this hard. And I feel like it's a bit of a metaphor of like, for just parenthood in general, because you don't actually know how hard it is. You think it's going to be hard, but
there's different phases. You think one phase is hard, and then
you think having one kid is hard, and then you have another kid, and you're like, oh, you take one to the shop now, and it's like a holiday.
Well, yes, like I said the other day, because I did, some one-on-one days with the girls within the summer holidays, and like, oh my gosh, it was like I took one to the zoo, and it was like a delightful day.
Yeah,
it was
crazy.
It was a breeze, and like they loved the one-on-one time as well. So that was really nice. But yeah, it's I was talking to someone who has like a newborn baby. And they're like, oh, look, last week they were doing this and this week. I'm like, yeah, well, like this is just the beginning of the different phases that you go through. And you think this one's tough, like the terrible 2s or the terrible 3s or whatever age you're at. And then there's another whole phase that comes along.
Yeah.
Well,
like business, right?
Well, totally. Lay that into business. Yeah. But well, we'll have to check in and see how Clint's gone. But it's funny because do you find do you do more of the drop-offs? Like, is that more of a rarity for him to do that in your dynamic?
Absolutely. He's out of the house at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
to drive to Sydney to work. So most days it's me.
So you're either going to get home and he'll be like, babe, I get it. Or he'll be like, it was a breeze. I don't know what you're getting so upset about.
The state of the household as I was leaving was not okay.
And you're just like, bye.
I was literally. I was like, I got to go. And there was kids screaming and, because they didn't want to get up and get ready and get ready for school and all of that. So,
And you just like grabbed your coffee and
I did.
And we get to just hang out now today.
Yep.
Maybe we should make this into an extended day overnight.
Absolutely.
We
should
podcast
record like 3 times a week.
Yeah, the podcast recording, it's going way into the evening. In fact, we'll probably have to stay here this evening.
Absolutely.
Can't get back. The winds. The weather's wild.
Yeah, got to stay overnight. Sorry.
Oh dear.
And what are you thinking?
So many things.
Yeah.
It was funny. I was just thinking. I was thinking about on the way here, like the reel that I sent you last night, which is well, I can put it in the show notes if anyone wants to see it. But it's this reel of this guy, and he's using like AI to like respond to everything, right? Like because everyone's using ChatGPT for everything now, and it's like. It's gone so far the other way that like someone asked him a question and like he's almost like talking like an ape again. Yeah. I don't want to make the sound on the podcast, but he's like, ooh, ooh. And then you hear ChatGPT forming his response for him. And it's just this funny reflection on like, are we going to go so far away from, we've gone from being apes to these like fully capable, intelligent human beings. And then we're going to rely so much on AI and automation. Like it's like you go on, I think it's Instagram or one of the apps now. It's like would you like AI to draft your response to a message? Like so
crazy.
It's just thinking, oh my gosh, is that where, we'll just end up like lazy? Or I was thinking about what's that movie with the little robot WALL-E? Did you ever see WALL-E? And it's like that whole thing is like you become so reliant on like technology and robots that we become these like sedentary giant, overweight, lazy people because the robots and the technology's just doing everything.
Yeah, totally.
That's a hopeful movie because the little robot gets everyone to like wake up and see that there's a whole world out there.
Yeah, but I loved that reel that you sent me because one of the responses of ChatGPT or whatever, it was like, yes, we look forward to merging our companies. And he's there like talking like an ape. It's so good.
But it's true. I mean, if I think, even the last week, like even outside of work stuff, right? Because it gets talked about for being, like content and work and, all the uses there. But I could give you like 5 uses I've used it for, like personally. Like I've used it for, I was like, I need to like freshen up our meal plan for home, like for our family dinners. I'm like, make us a family meal plan. Here's what we like eating. Here's our food intolerances. Like here's the type of people and like the different needs that we have. And it helped to make a meal plan. I'm like, hey, like change this, do this. Cool. Now make me a shopping list.
Yeah.
Great. Like
so good.
And that's like something that is a bane of my existence that I hate doing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So easy, right? It's so easy.
It'd be great when like that speaks to like the Woolies app and then it just
it's coming. I'm sure of it.
Well, there's the new, I don't know if it's in beta now, the tasks. Have you seen the tasks in ChatGPT? So they're just releasing it. Not everyone has it yet.
Yeah.
But you can then set it to be like every Monday run this, this prompt and email it to me. So what if like every Monday it's like, hey, don't forget to put this in your shopping list today, or I could get like some VA to do that. Yeah.
Maybe VAs are on the way out.
Yeah,
oh my
Jess,
God.
we need a new business idea.
Guys.
No, but I
getting
think
rid
it's
of the VA agency.
it was like what we've been talking about for your business this year, right? It's like if as you're doing is having your VAs really know how to use things like AI and ChatGPT. So it's like they're almost like supercharged in their role because they know how to use it really well to meet your clients' needs.
Yeah. We're also putting a little bit of that into our Sync Hub as well.
Yeah.
For our clients to have some resources on just understanding it better and how they could give a task to a VA but have some of it done by AI. And then like that's what I do a lot of my day. I'm like, do a content plan of, things that I want to talk about or, do reels on, and then I give it to my social media VA.
Yeah.
So it's like
and they're utilising the ChatGPT and the AI for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's next level.
Yeah. Oh, it's wild. But I think so. What's the lesson in learning from that reel? Is that to remember the human element, or to practice thinking. It's actually Taylor and I've been doing these like brain games every day. It's like I've got this app called Elevate. And so we've been doing these brain games every day, and it's actually really interesting, like basic like maths and like calculating and grammar checks and English and word games and stuff like that. And like, God, there's some days like I feel really, really dumb on there, like really, really dumb. But I do feel that doing it every day, I think I've done it for like 12 days in a row now. Like I do feel like I'm getting smarter, like I'm lighting up a part of my brain, especially around like words and stuff, because there's some of the games that are like, getting you to think around words that you might not use every day, like in writing, and if they fit in the right sentences and stuff like that. And it's so rare that now, even for me, like I'll be transparent, like I'll come up with a post idea for my socials, but I'll always run it through ChatGPT to help me form it, and then I usually go and customize it. So like a lot of the heavy lifting on how should I write this is taken away from me. And so, it's been really interesting to go I should still keep that part of my brain active because like we still want to be, able to hold a conversation and not talk like maybe the podcast in 10 years we'll just be going, huh? And then the AI will translate it into, this does, it gets transcribed and everything already. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Maybe we could just,
there'll be something the balance.
Download it from my brains.
I think the balance.
The balance.
But also, I'm sure there's got to be studies and stuff that like doing these sorts of things is like so good for Alzheimer's and dementia and all of that sort of stuff to like help
prevent it.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They're saying like people now like are, going to be living longer and not having those issues because, we're much more active like physically and stuff like that. But then, we'll have to be mindful of keeping our brains active when tech can do so much of like our jobs and our tasks.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, it wasn't actually what we were going to be talking about today. We love slipping back into AI chat. We should have called the podcast Scale with AI.
Yeah. We're just not here.
Yeah, no, it's us. We've got to have the conversation.
True.
Well, today being the start of the year, people making plans for their business. One of the things that I've noticed is we ran a session in my PMBA mastermind a few weeks ago on setting up a marketing plan for your business. And I realized, one of the reasons I put that on was because I realized how much businesses, a small business in particular, like marketing is like fit it in when I have time type approach. And for like businesses to grow sustainably, like there has to be a consistent marketing in place to be building brand awareness and generating leads. And when you're just doing it when it's like you have time for it and when you feel like it, it's going to be up and down and consistent. So like we sat down with all of our members and we like showed them how to make a strategic marketing plan and the different elements that they need to think about. And they've now been busy the last few weeks building that out and looking at, okay, well, what needs to happen strategically, but then each day and week and month on a consistent basis, who's going to do that? And that's something that like I never had in my business for years and years and years. I've probably only like really been much better at that in the last maybe even like year of my business.
Yeah.
Otherwise it was reactive. It was just like throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks. And, you know, it still is because I'm a small business. I'll be like, hey team, do this and try this.
Yeah.
But we now have like, you know, the foundations, like this stuff has to be happening all the time to make sure we have X amount of, you know, eyeballs on the business and Y amount of leads coming in and then Z amount of clients converting, because it is a numbers game, like when you get into it.
Absolutely.
And anytime I've mapped the trends for my business or my clients' businesses, it's like, you know, if there's no leads coming in and no clients coming in, it's like, well, okay, we'll map it back. What activity was happening and then what were we doing in the months before that? And Jen's like, oh, I didn't have time for, you know, my socials. I haven't sent an email out to my database in X amount of time. So I thought, you know, it was a good conversation to have, to probably for us both to reflect on maybe like a mini marketing reflection and plan for both of us. It's like, so what have we reflected on, what's working well in our businesses the last year or so, as far as more eyeballs on the business, more leads, more clients.
Yep.
And then, you know, what are we planning for this year? Like, what are we going to shift and change? So, so what do you think for you? Like, if you look at the last 12 months or last year, like what worked for you as far as like marketing, right? Getting more eyes on your business, more leads, more clients in the door.
Well, a social media VA was literally the first hire in my business, because I knew how important it was to have that consistently happening. Trying to build an email list. So
yeah, email list, so important.
So important. And, you know, you do that by building your social media and then building your email list from there. Well, that's how I did it.
Getting people off the socials onto your email list,
so
right?
like lead magnets, like 100 things a VA can do for your business. And people go, oh, I want that.
Yeah.
Pop their email in and they get the list. And then so over time you just start to build up. And I really think a lot of my clients, a lot of your clients, like they wouldn't be doing that. So that's really...
because it's segmented. Like they'll see something, it's like, oh, I've got to do the socials. So they get onto the socials and maybe they get that happening consistently. But then it's like, oh, like how's that fitting into like the marketing funnel as far as thinking, okay, well, I've got socials going out. How am I driving people off the socials into my database, into my world so that I can be engaging at a higher level with them? Do you think lead magnets worked to do that for you last year? Like how...
Yeah, they did, definitely. When I look at the data and the amount of emails that I got off lead magnets, and like a lot of people listening might not know what a lead magnet is, and I didn't when I started.
Pause. What is a lead magnet?
Yeah. So a lead magnet is a bit of information. It might be a list. It might be a blueprint. It might be something of value that you...
like a PDF,
like could be
video, anything.
For property management businesses, it might be... So it could be a suburb report on the... you know, I don't know.
Investment rates, right? Like, like investment returns.
For sure, for a suburb of people that they're trying to target. So put that on their socials and people go, oh, I live there, or I want to, you know, I've got an investment property there. All they have to do is put their name in, their email address, and they get emailed or, you know, a direct link to download this document. And over time, you've then got to do something with that email, right? And that's where email marketing comes in. You then have to email weekly, twice a week, whatever it may be. And they're not instantly just going to go, oh, yeah, I'm going to use that property manager or that, you know, company. But if you keep emailing, when they're ready, you need to be front of mind for them. So, you know, there might be 2 or 3 of your competitors that are also in the running, but they're going to look at your name's going to be there because you're going to be on the shopping list, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and that's what we spoke, like what we're talking about the masterclass you ran a few weeks ago. I explained like the concept of like the customer journey and how that applies to like the marketing funnel, right? Because you've got like content and things that you're putting out there from a marketing sense that build awareness, right? It's like people become aware of your brand and they didn't know that you existed. So if there's a landlord in your marketplace, they didn't know you existed, but they come across your socials or a blog or an article on you or an ad, right? They're like, oh, I didn't know that those people existed, right? They become more of your brand, and the more they see your brand as more brand recognition, right? Then that second phase is the consideration phase, right? So it's then they might go, oh, okay, well, I do have a need. I am a bit frustrated. Like, so when you're, when you've got the socials or the blogs or the marketing, it's like, okay, well, if you can then get people into your world, into your email list, you've got more control over what they see. So you can, from that lead magnet, have like an email nurture sequence or a call sequence or whatever that nurture plan is to, engage with them. And it might take, 3, 5, 10 or a year before that, then they're ready to go. But you've got more and more people in that consideration stage of the funnel. Yeah. And then it's like, cool, well, like you're on the shopping list, then that decision-making phase comes in where they're able to go, all right, well, now I do need a new property manager, and maybe they're booking in the meetings and comparing you to the others. But like that, people kind of usually go at that stage. It's like, oh, well, I'm, trying to win someone over at this decision-making phase. But it's like all this marketing that's happening beforehand is warming them up, making them aware of you, putting on the shopping list, and making sure that, they kind of already know that they want to use you by that stage. So, like that lead magnet is really key because it pulls people out of that, awareness phase, and it puts you on their shopping list. Yep. And that was one of the key things that, we've done in the last, especially the last 12 to 24 months, is lead magnets for Psychic have been huge for building our email database. Yep. And we make sure that every time someone fills out a thing, they get a really high value piece of content back. Yep. And sometimes that's through an email form. Sometimes that's through the socials. Like sometimes DM me or comment the word and we send it across to them. Unfortunately, there's a system that you can use called ManyChat, which helps you get back to people really quickly. But I had one lead magnet I put out last year, and I was like, I don't have time to set up ManyChat, and I think I got about 100 people, so I'm there.
And I messaged you and I was like, I hope you've got ManyChat set up.
I didn't,
for this. And
I had to manually send the lead magnet to everyone. Yeah. And I think Facebook actually blocked me because they thought I was like spamming people with my was like copy and paste responses. So highly recommend if you've got higher volumes that maybe having something like a ManyChat would be helpful. Typically, I find for most, like, in our space in real estate, like it's probably lower volumes of people downloading those lead magnets, or you can, set it up through, maybe ads, and then the automation happens through your website. But and then we've made sure there's nurture email sequences off the back of those that introduce our business and help them get to know us. And then they're in our world for, things that we're promoting and launching and selling through the business. So definitely, I think we talked about for the property management businesses in our mastermind, it's like how they could, have a lead magnet that they promote through their socials, their website, their ads that will, as you say, attract investors who are looking, or maybe not even currently looking for a change to enter their world and get to know them and get to know, oh, wow, I didn't know that there was a property management agency that could do things so well. Yeah, it's your chance to like get in front of some eyeballs that maybe you weren't previously in front of, instead of what a lot of businesses do is sort of sit and wait for the phone to ring, which is now, wait for the website inquiry to come through, but they're not, doing that engaging marketing activity beforehand.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what else do you think worked for you marketing? I reckon for you, like personal brand and like your socials has probably been like a big part of your success and brand awareness. Yeah, like you do amazing at your socials.
Thank you.
You should run like a socials course or something.
You reckon?
Yeah, you're really good at it.
Oh, thanks. My social media VA helps a lot.
Yeah, but I've seen you whip together reels and you come up with really cool ideas as well.
Yeah. I just get these really creative bursts. Like I cannot do anything for a week or two, and then I'm like, oh, I see something, bit of inspiration. I'm like, oh, I know how to like change that up, and I like doing it. Yeah. I really enjoy it.
I think that's the thing. If you like doing it, you'll notice that. That's probably what then I'm noticing come through, right? Like it's like your energy and excitement for it's coming through in what then comes out in a reel or a post and things like that. And there's a lot of people that hate doing it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's probably where a lot of business owners think, I can't do socials, like I'm not going to enjoy it. Have someone in the team, someone in the office. There's got to be a young property manager that, and I've seen a couple of agencies do this quite well, is that they get their team involved, or they, they might have a marketing person that can, do that and get involved and all of that. And I did that for Chadwick when I was head of brand, and I would go out to some of the opens.
Maybe if they've got someone there though, like that's the thing. Like there's a lot of clients that I've got in my mastermind, like they don't necessarily have like the teams and the people in there, like to be able to, you know, help with that, or who have that skill set. And so that was some of the conversations that we've been having. It's like, okay, well, if like you don't have the time or the energy and like you don't want to do it, like it's probably still something that needs to happen. Absolutely. And as a business owner, you don't need to necessarily be doing all the aspects and wearing all the hats, but your job is to make sure, hey, is that marketing function being addressed?
Yeah.
And if it's not, like, okay, I need to look at outsourcing it to a company that does socials or ads or email marketing, or I need to get a VA who's specialized in socials that can actually do that, obviously through agency. You know, or, you know, maybe then when you're looking to hire that next junior person in your business, like finding someone who's got a bit of like, you know, pizzazz around the marketing side of things. Because I think like what we talk about in the business, and I think I got this from one of the programs that you and I went through. It's like there's six pillars of like a successful business. You've got like marketing, the sales, the service, operations, the financials, and the people.
Yep.
And like, so the marketing is all around, okay, well, how are we bringing new clients into your business? And it's kind of, you've always got to be marketing.
Yeah.
It's sort of, it's not that build it and they will come.
Yeah, totally.
We don't have the shop for, a lot of us don't have those, you know, highly street present shop fronts that we did, you know, 20 years ago. And so that marketing function, you know, generally if I get people like, Ray, okay, well, how well is your marketing function performing in your business right now, as far as is it generating, you know, consistent leads for your business? How many is it generating? Is that enough for you to reach your goals? Like a lot of the time people don't know how many leads they're getting, if there's enough to reach their goals, and then how to increase or improve that. And then if you, so it's either you got to like outsource it, get an internal person, get outsourced, you know, VA type support. Or if you want to do it and you don't know how to do it, like to get
you've got to learn.
Yeah, you've got to learn.
Start.
And that's like, I was thinking about that. It's like, well, you know, we've both had to learn. We've both had to do coaching programs and get up to speed on those. And we always laugh because we have probably, you know, signed up for so many courses and programs, some of which we've done and have learned a lot from. But then, you know, some of which we've probably purchased and downloaded a few templates and never even touched. But there's so much out there.
So much. And it can be so cheap if you want it to be. That like Canva. There's a million templates in there, free version. But one thing I was going to say is I actually consulted with a lady during the week about her business. She wants to grow her business, which is similar to mine, and she asked if I would do some consulting with her, and I did that. And she was asking me about my personal brand and my socials, and she has no intention of being on socials like a personal brand, but she understands the need for having her face on there a little bit, and like so people can see the business owner. And I said, well, why don't you get a videographer for the day, hire a beautiful space, or if you've got a really nice office, and get them to shoot some B-roll. And she was like, what's B-roll?
What is a B-roll?
Yeah. And I said, well, that's
I always think it was brol. I'm like, what's everyone talking about? What's brol?
Makes sense, I guess.
Is it like bro? Like brol? Like I had no idea what that was.
That's so funny.
But a quick Google. I learned me.
Oh, B-roll. So yeah, B-roll is literally, you know, it's those background sort of videos of like you on your phone, you on your computer, walking through a room, anything that is not you facing the camera, talking to the camera. It's just background footage.
Yeah.
And I said, just get a whole heap of that, give it to a social media company or a social media VA, and get them to use that. And you can put your words over the top of it. You don't have to be face to camera talking. I mean, that is best, but if you're not comfortable, start with that. But get it out there. Like, I honestly think for property management businesses, or a lot of businesses, it would actually be so easy to do that. Like, think of someone following around a property manager for a whole day. in the
So
office.
much B-roll, so much brawl.
Much content.
So much brawl, bro.
But like so much. You could do it on a day where they're going out to do inspections.
Oh,
they're
I
meeting
think that
people.
day in the life content is like that's so valuable if
So
you could
good.
just get someone to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we touched on this a few weeks ago, but like I do believe that like personal brand, it's a secret weapon to be able to get more eyeballs and awareness of your business, because the reach and performance of that type of content on socials is like, I don't know what the actual stat is. Let's say 10, 20, 100, whatever stat you want to pick. I couldn't tell you exactly. But like we know, like anytime it's like if it's a picture of you versus like a stock picture or some text or something.
They just don't perform. Unless it's like some crazy good quote and people are like, oh my God, wow. Or it just doesn't perform that well.
No.
Anymore.
Well, I mean, it's there and it's almost like a placeholder and part of your content, sure, but for
it can't
more
be everything.
eyeballs, more engagement, and then for people to like want to actually then take that next step with you. Yeah, I think it's super important. We had another in the PMBA program. We had Ellen Bathgate come on and do a social session.
Nice.
She's
I love Ellen.
amazing at what she does, and she's an incredible speaker, very engaging. But she was talking about a client of hers who, like, she's got a whole content plan, and Ellen's got pillars that she works on across like education and fun and like those type of things. But it's like one of Ellen's clients literally just uses selfies for most of the content. So the images across it, right? So even if it's about tax depreciation or something a bit drier, she's got she puts it with like a selfie, right? And they've been
Is
like
it working?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, like
Love
they
that.
get like huge amounts of engagement and likes and comments and stuff because it's like it's her.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's a smallish business. She's got her and a few other people in it. But like she just has like anytime she's like looking good or feeling good for the day, like she'll just take a bunch of selfies and keep them in a folder on her phone. So that then when it comes to content time, she just, you know, picks one that might not have anything to do with it, but it gets the eyeballs on her post and gets people seeing it and engaging with it. So I just think
and that's a
it's
hack.
so smart.
That is such a hack, because I remember last year I was struggling with having to get ready and look presentable to be on socials.
You don't have to every day.
Well, and that's the thing. I was doing a lot of Zoom calls. I was doing all the sales calls. So I was feeling the pressure of like obviously having to look presentable on the Zoom calls as well. But then I just batched, like I'm only doing Zoom calls on these days, and those are the days that I will take a whole heap of photos or some B-roll. And then the other days of the week, I can look like a bit of a sloth if I want to, but still be
elevated sloth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Like it's definitely, because if I look at for our business, look, we've got 2 sets of socials. So we've got like the Sidekick socials and then like my personal brand.
And now we've got these socials as well.
You know, I've got Scale the socials, which are, you know, they're performing really well because it's all us and our faces. So that's gone really well. And a lot of video content as well. But I think that, you know, if I look at there could be very similar content on the same day, similar stuff, just compared to like a business brand versus a personal brand. Like if it's a photo of me versus a generic, more, you know, marketing type looking tile, like it always is. It's like 10, 20, 30 times more engagement because they're not only like, you know, my friends and my, you know, my network like commenting and liking. Because of that, then that's getting seen by more people and people that they know because of the algorithm. So it's, you know, I think that if a business doesn't have any kind of personal brand, not to say they won't grow, but I don't think social media is going to be as probably a heavy of a influence in their leads and growth unless they're paying. Because I think then the key is like that's if you don't want to have that personal brand, or even if you do, but like ads is probably going to be a really important part of that strategy to force that content to be shown to more people, right? Because
absolutely.
And you probably can speak to this more. You've been running probably more ads than I have, like the last year, and have plans to this year. Like we're turning some on this month, but you know we've sort of just only lightly experimented with it.
Yeah.
But like say for your, you know, your lead magnets and then leads even outside of that, like how important have you found like paid ads across say Meta or Google for that?
Incredible. And I think for the listeners, it depends what kind of business they have. But for my business, there was one month, I think it might have been September or something last year, and I did a lead magnet, and it was something about tasks for VAs, and I had 400 email addresses in like 2 weeks. So it just performed really, really well. Hard to say. I don't know how many of those converted to, but it's all that funnel, right? It's like that top of funnel awareness. It definitely has paid off. But yeah, ads has been huge, and that's the thing. If business owners don't want to be on their socials, do that day of content with a professional, get some really great quality B-roll, and give it to someone to run some ads, and they can put it all together, and then you've got good quality, and you're paying for eyes on your business, and you can target those ads. So for property managers, or property management agency owners, you can drop a pin in the middle of the suburb and do like a 20K radius or whatever it might be, and then you're targeting. You can also, it probably would be great for a lot of the listeners to retarget their email address, like the database, yeah. Because
and making sure that they've got their retargeting on for their websites as well.
Absolutely, yeah, but it has performed incredibly well. I would say that would be one of the biggest contributors to our growth would be ads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for this year ahead, like you're like budgeting for ad spend, but how will you like optimize that? Like, because you said like you might not know at the moment, the numbers of maybe how many it's generated, but then that the lower part of the funnel is like, okay, what's that converting to as far as like, okay, if we spend, X amount on, let's say it's, I don't know, $500,000 for the month on ads, and that's giving you 400. You're like, nope, not that much.
I don't know how much you think the business makes. It's not that much.
Hey, big spender. Okay, so $500.
Yeah, that's better.
Maybe on a good month. Yeah. And then, like that's generated you, 400 leads. It's like then, can you then track or how many of those leads over time have actually become clients? Because then beyond because I know like in the ads you can track your return on your, your link clicks, your ad spend, all of that. But then to like which ones of those have actually become clients and then what the ROI is. So it's like cool if for every $500 I spend, we get 400 leads. We get, I don't know, 20 calls booked. We get, 2 new clients out of that.
Yeah.
It's like your part of your cost of acquisition for a client. It's like, cool, well, if I spend $500, I know
I get 2 clients.
Because that's repeatable that I'm going to get 2 clients out of that.
Yeah.
Are you going to that level of tracking yet? Or is that
this year? 100%.
Yeah.
We've got the database set up, and we've got an additional spreadsheet that we're working off as well. And I've now got a new staff member, Lauren. Shout out to Lauren. I know she'll listen. But she has come from 20 years of sales, like lead gen, sales, marketing background. So she's actually going to be really across how many leads we're getting, how many she's converting. Like, are they directly booking a call? Heavily tracking, yeah. And we have to. When you get a team member in that sort of position and her role is ultimately sales. Yep. So how many sales is she converting? And she's hungry. She's so hungry. So if like the leads aren't coming in, she's pushing me to be like, where are the leads? What do we need to change? And I love that. That's what we need. That's what we needed in the business, is someone to look at all of that and then come to me and say, we're not getting enough leads. This is what I want to do, or this is what I think we should do for ads. Can we try this sort of lead magnet? And then, I can then roll that out to the team.
That's the thing, is tweaking and optimizing it, right? Because then in that same scenario, it's like, cool, we've got 400 leads, but it's not actually converting and translating to clients. It might be great for database building, but they're not actually our ideal clients. It is. It's like, cool, well, what would we need to change in the lead magnet or the targeting as far as, or even like the copy, and it's like, who are we speaking to? Maybe we need to change it and then retest, right? Like it's for any business, it's not a set and forget. Like it's a constant need to review and optimize along the way. And that's not just for, that's not just for socials or ads. That's the whole marketing, really. Like what you're doing, is it working to produce the results that you're looking for? As even like I was talking to a client, even like prospecting the other day, they're like making calls and, we're looking at their stats. It's okay, for every 100 calls you make, you're connecting to about like 50 people, out of that, we're maybe getting 1 or 2 hot leads out of that. Is the problem that you know, is the problem that like we're not having good enough conversations?
Yep.
Or is the problem that we're speaking to data that's, you know, not great quality or not the kind of type of people we're looking for? And so we're able to have a whole conversation around that as to like how we can optimize the quality of who we're speaking to, the conversations, and also then what we were like offering on those calls to kind of open up the conversation more. But like unless you sit down and have that reflection conversation, that you're probably just going to either keep doing the same thing, getting the same results. And if you don't get the results you're looking for, you often give up because you go, oh, it's not really working. And you think, oh, well, whether it's prospecting or marketing, oh, it's not working. Why bother?
Yeah.
When really
it's not working.
Yeah, it's like, well, what's not working? And it might just be like little tweaks.
Yeah.
That's all that's needed to actually get it cranking for you.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And what else do you think? So like looking forward for this year, like what's going to be like important for you from a marketing standpoint?
Messaging for me or for us. We noticed that the type of messaging that I was putting out last year was attracting solopreneurs or really small businesses, and their cash flow wouldn't support growing a team of VAs. And ultimately that's what works really well, is when companies have a team in Australia and in the Philippines working well together, and they're supporting each other in the work. So we want to focus on building teams, and the content and lead magnets that I was putting out last year was attracting
someone who just wants a little job done.
And I don't, obviously, like I'm the sort of person that kind of wants to help everyone. So I'm happy to put lead magnets out there that help them or have resources. If they contact me and say, oh, I need a VA for 10 hours a week, it's like, I'm sorry, we don't have a 10-hour-a-week package. Here's a list, or here's how to, do that yourself. But we want to focus on building a team. So say for your clients, it would be they will need a marketing VA, and they might need an admin VA that can help the property managers to not waste their time on admin. So like yourself, you've built a team now. You've got 2 people, and you know how well that works. So that's what we want to focus on. So it's the messaging around
people who are ready to scale and build a team. And,
absolutely. Yeah. And what about yourself?
I think I would agree in the messaging. We're looking a lot at the moment as far as that funnel and website optimization. So to make sure that what happens when someone does come across like Psychic, like that they are brought into our world, and that what happens next is really strategic. It's making sure that, like when someone comes on the website, that yes, then they're going to get retargeted through ads, but it's like there's lots of really great resources there that they can then engage with, like just if they're at that awareness stage and they're checking it out, that showcase and speak to that specific kind of client that we're looking to work with, which is, we've got very similar, I suppose, ideal clients in that, it is those business owners who, they've moved through their startup phase, and we've got resources there for startup businesses, but the ones then to enter into the mastermind program are going to be cool. Like I'm ready to grow my team. I'm ready to put process in place. I'm ready to have sustainable marketing. I'm ready to become like that business owner and leader that I need to be. So we're looking at that similar messaging is all around that, to speak to that person so they feel, oh, yes, I'm in the right place and this is the right business for me. And we talked a lot about that messaging piece in the mastermind call a few weeks back around for your messaging and marketing before you even go and set your marketing plan and your socials. One of the really important things there's a couple of things we talked about doing. One was making sure you're clear on your goals and your metrics and your numbers, making sure that, you know what your budgets are for marketing, all of that. But then it's like knowing your brand identity really, really well so that can filter into your messaging. So who is that ideal client for you? Because like even for a property management business, you might be like, cool, I'm speaking to landlords, but like, hold on, for your business, what kind of landlords do you want to have? And, we talked about,
do you want apartments, or do you want the $1 million houses?
Apartments, houses, sure. Like there's that property type, but there's also the landlord type, right? And the landlord type can make a really big difference on the time and energy, right? And we talked about, you've got owners who they're looking to rent out their home and maybe just for a couple of years, and they really love the,
Yep.
making sure that they're home. They're like, when they move back in, they're very particular about everything and probably a bit overbearing. Do you want them, or do you want, no, you want like the seasoned investors who are like, cool, I'm going into this, I'm looking at it as an investment. I've probably got a budget in place. I'm looking at numbers, less emotion around it, or do you want the people who couldn't sell their home, or do you want the, do you want the people who are unhappy with the service? They're currently with someone else. With one of the clients on the call, we worked out she had been attracting a lot of clients who rented out their home for a few years, and she was having so much trouble with people moving back in and the drama around all of that. And she's like, no, I don't want to speak to that anymore. Like she actually really loves the ones who haven't got great service from another client, another agency, and she loves taking them on because her level of service is high and she can wow them within, a very short period of time, and then they love her and they're really easy to deal with. So it's like, okay, so we need to, in your marketing and messaging this next quarter, that's who we're speaking to, right? We don't need to be like thinking about renting out your home. No, we don't need to speak to that in your messaging. We need to speak to what are the pain points and challenges that they would be having at the moment. And what are they telling you now when they're coming across, like what's those pain points and challenges? What do they really want? That's what's got to filter through, whether it's your socials or your emails or your website, like that's what it's got to speak to, so that again, people land on your content, on your marketing and feel like, oh yes, that's.
She needs testimonials, she needs case studies, and just putting, and that's probably something that I've focused on a lot as well, is like I will screenshot if someone sends me a message how much they love their VA, I'm screenshotting it, blurring out their name of course, but and that stuff pays off. You have no idea how much that pays off over time.
Well, that works well for you because it's like anyone who even has had a VA, that's the experience that they want. They want to be writing to you saying, oh my gosh, like I love my VA, like I'm so happy. And if I haven't had that, I'll be like, oh, well, I'm interested in using you. If you can find VAs like that, like that's what I want. So I think, 100%. But then, like say for her business, if we go on her page, she's got really lots of really great reviews, and typically you might be sharing random ones, but it's like, no, pick the ones that have the wording that speak to, again, like that exact type of client. Not like, oh, we rented out our home for a few years, you were really amazing, that's great, that client was a good client, but we don't want to highlight that. We want to find the ones where it's like, oh, I was with another agent, I was unhappy, tells the story right now I'm with you and I'm so looked after.
Ask them. She needs to look at her list of landlords and find the ones that have come from somewhere else and ask them. Ask them for the Google review. Ask them to write a quick couple of words. People love to do that. They really do. If they have had great service.
100%. People get scared to ask it. I'm like, just say, hey, would you mind writing, we've loved working with you. Would you mind writing a few words so we can help more awesome clients like you? And then people are like, oh, yes, would love to.
Well, I tell my team that all the time. They will show me an email that a client has sent us saying how much they love it. And I write back, can you ask them to put that on the Google review? Here's the link. Just please copy and paste this. Like, would you mind?
Yeah.
And you get them in that moment and they're more than happy to. So that's another thing.
Google
Google reviews. Or,
and it's all like
probably
probably keeping a list of those, because then if you wanted to get some video content, I got one of my clients, periodically will get one of their really great clients that's super happy to come in and do some video content. Like that's super powerful. Okay, I'm just realizing talking about this, we could probably talk about this for like 7 episodes. But okay, then to wrap up on this year ahead, like what do you like marketing wise? Like what are you going, okay, that's not working for us, I'm letting it go, or you personally or the business, like what are you kind of like parking or going, we're not going to focus on that right now?
For me, it's definitely even more focus on my personal brand. We've got 2 accounts like you. We've got the Agents Inc. account, we've got my account, and we still need content on the Agents Inc. account because people are going to land on that, and you want to be seen to be posting a few times a week. You don't want someone to land on it and go, oh, is this business still operating? They haven't posted in 6 months.
Because that's a valid thought. Like if you haven't got onto your socials, like, because I'll do that, I'll be like, oh, it's a hairdresser or something, and you go, oh, like there's nothing fresh on there, maybe they're not, they're not active.
Business. And then like sometimes you don't even call or check because it's like, so just having that rolling out, but personal brand for myself.
Yes, but what are you going to not do? Like what are you going to let go of?
What am I going to let
Like what
go
was like
of?
something maybe that's you tried, it's not working, or you think we're not going to bother with that?
Oh,
Do you want to pass?
yeah. Can I pass? You go. What's yours? What are you letting go of?
Trying to be all the things to all the people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so not just marketing.
Well, like in marketing in particular.
Oh, okay. Your messaging.
Because if I reflect, if you tie back into that messaging thing, right?
Yep.
Like, because, there's lots of people I can help. Like, there's lots of people that I'm
Same.
good at helping.
Mm-hmm.
But, my real focus this year is like, I'm like really passionate about like helping these businesses like move through that startup, and like really move into that phase where they can grow their businesses quickly and not spend 10 years trying to figure it out. Like they've got all the resources that they need to do that. And so, in order to do that, like I'm really great at, training property managers on general stuff around, conflict or vacates and those kind of things. But I'm moving to I'm putting those products onto my shop so that they're evergreen and people can access that training from me anytime, so that my time and energy on the marketing and everything else can be focused on helping the type of clients that I really want to help this year.
Love that. Mine would be similar now that.
Oh, you're going to copy mine?
Yeah, copycat. No, but I think I have done well in business to this point, but I was trying to be too many things to too many people. And there was a stage in business where I was like, any amount of hours that a client needed for a VA, yep, we'll do it. And I had no idea the amount of work that we do now in the back end to manage that client, manage that VA, make sure they're working well together. And it's just not worth it for 10 hours a week or.
But that you could say the same. There's a lot of our, clients who have, as a property management or real estate, like, those difficult clients or the ones who aren't those aligned clients end up taking up so much of the time and the energy. Whereas, if you're intentional about that ideal client, the messaging and then the marketing, you will end up with more of those, the ideal clients. And that's that acceptance of going, well, I don't need to be everything to everyone.
Yeah. I
don't need to say yes to everything. In fact, we've had a few inquiries come in for, some consulting stuff and some training stuff this year that I've kind of gone like, hey, I can do that. We're fully booked up at the moment. I'd recommend going speaking to these people. And I've got no problem like referring. We've got lots of really great other industry trainers and consultants in the industry. I regularly refer across to them. Like I've got a abundance mindset. There's more than enough for all of us. And that will allow me the space this year to be on the road less, doing stuff that I'm not as passionate about, and really focused on that through the marketing. But then the result of that, the result of marketing is that I've got really awesome clients that I'm working with every day.
Yeah. Love that. And that's the thing. Last year I was throwing a lot of money at ads to get all the leads. And then some of those would convert, but then they wouldn't be in our world very long because it wasn't the right fit. They weren't ready.
And maybe that's it. Maybe it's then like capturing the leads, but then having that nurture sequence or whatever it is behind the scenes to then filter through that, right? And then have because we've got in one of our funnels, it's like, we want people who are action takers, right? Not just, I'm not going to say the freeloaders, but like we all download free stuff. But, like the ones who just want to grab all the free resources, right? So then there's a second stage of our funnel, which is cool. Like after that, now there's like a masterclass and a training that you can go and watch. And then at the end of that, like if you go through that and you want to take that next step, like those are the people that we want. We want someone who's going to actually put in and drive themselves, not have their hand held. So that's like, maybe that's through that marketing plan is making sure that there's some automation and process to filter through to those ideal clients.
Yeah, definitely. And that's another thing with Lauren coming on board. She's now doing a 15-minute call for anyone that fills in inquiry form, free 15-minute call
like a
to
discovery.
see if it's to see if it's a good fit. Whereas before we were booking everyone into a 45-minute call and not being able to, get the right clients in, or it was taking a lot longer and a lot of time.
Oh, totally. And they might not be the right client. And we talk about that a lot when we're talking about the web strategy and the, that conversion, consideration to conversion stage of having people on your website. And typically in real estate, it's, book an appraisal. And I'm like, hold on. Not everybody wants an appraisal. Someone might just want to talk to you. Like, do you have a function where someone can just book like a 15-minute chat with you?
Yep.
they can qualify you, but you can qualify them as well. You have then some questions to ask. Oh, what type of client are you? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're not really our type. Oh, well, we don't currently, it's probably not where we specialize. Like, and you can then like push them in another direction if you're at that stage. But I think that having that option, when someone comes in, again, if it's an inbound lead, if you're calling them, typically most businesses will go, oh, okay, cool. Well, like, we want to get you booked in for an appraisal, and we're taught to get in front of the person straight away. Yeah. But I think there's that qualifying stage that, like, if you spent 10 minutes on the phone with that person, you'd work out if they were the right client for you. It's even like one the other day, like we worked out, like, okay, well, if you ask them a few questions and they go, oh, well, yeah, I've been through 4 property managers in the last year. Okay, well, are they the problem or are you the problem?
Yep.
And, then digging deeper and maybe working out, okay, well, they're not the kind of person who likes to do compliance or pay anything and blah, blah, blah. And you can work out on that phone call and save yourself an hour sitting in front of that person to work all of that out just with shifting that, that little stage of the conversion and decision-making process in your strategy. But that's having the process in place, and that's part of that marketing funnel, right? It's having the process in place, whether that's a little call or a qualifying questions or something more to be able to move people through and have those ideal clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
That was a lot.
I know.
It was so good though.
Okay, well, we have our little question.
Oh, yeah.
We've upgraded, by the way. We no longer have a bowl. We have a cocktail shaker, which I've actually already dropped
Very on brand.
We've dropped on the floor about like 6 times already today, and the questions have like spilled out on the thing. But what did we do last time? Did we? I can't remember if we read each other the question. Did we answer the same question?
We answer the same question. Yeah. Oh no! What? What?
Would you ever get a boob job? So off topic.
I can't believe you put that in there. That's so funny.
I
would. You know I would.
I would.
Yeah. You would too?
Yeah. I used to be like never.
Yeah.
I would say like no, never. But I think
then you
after
have
2 kids,
yeah.
tucking them into your undies. Do you want to do a different one? Let's see if there's a more businessy one in there, because I did put some random ones in there.
I love a random question.
And what we will do, actually, we've been talking about actually getting some of your listener questions to answer, so we don't have to talk about our cosmetic procedures, although you probably find that more entertaining, listeners. But yeah, we will pop a little link in the show notes and in our link in bio, and you can leave us a little voice note or just DM us a question if you want us to answer it on the podcast. It might be about your business or something you're struggling with, and we will in the next couple of episodes.
Please do. We'd love to know that
someone's listening.
Yeah, please subscribe.
All of our
and
2
let us
listeners.
know.
Hi. Oh, cool. What's the best decision you ever made in business?
Oh my goodness. I feel like there's so many.
What first comes to mind?
Just starting, like literally just starting, having the idea. And I kind of look back and I feel like it's so long ago now, but it was only 2.5 years ago. But just to have...
Feels like longer.
Yeah.
It's been 75
I've
years.
aged so much. But
not those, because we'll get more cosmetic procedures, don't worry.
But that's the one of the big bits of advice that I gave this lady that I did some consulting with, because she has a business. She's wanting to start another business. And I said, you just have to start. Like, I can give you like everything that how I started, but all I did was just start, and you figure it out. And I feel like that was the best thing, because just to have the courage to do it, I think. I'm proud of myself.
Oh, I'm proud of you too.
But yeah, I would say that, but also I'm a very impatient person, so I push myself a lot to keep growing and to make changes, and it's always scary when I'm going to bring that next team member on, but it pushes me. So like bringing Lauren into sales, it's like, oh my God, I have another Australian team member. So with that comes a big salary, taxes and super and all of those things. But it has pushed me. I'm like, oh my God, she wants leads. She wants to make the sales. It's pushing me. So my business will grow a lot more this year because I'm pushing myself.
You've invested, yeah. It's like you're like that, it's that meme or reel. It's like, the reason you're so stressed in business is because you keep moving the goalposts.
Absolutely, I do. And that's probably Yeah, I stress myself out. But I love it.
Yeah.
And I think, what about you?
I thought you were going to say starting this podcast with me.
Oh, whoops. That too.
That's number 2, of course.
But in saying that, we're very similar in that sense, in that we think of something and we're like, do we want to do this? Yep, let's do it. So we pushed ourselves.
It took like a week before we'd like come up with the idea and got it into motion.
Absolutely. Yeah, but how many people think of something and then think of what could go wrong, what could happen, how do I do it? Like you just
I
need
still
to
get stuck on
start.
that stuff sometimes.
Oh,
Of
course.
I could be probably a lot further ahead in business if I had just done it quicker. Because like some people like, they'll see my business now. It's like, oh wow, it looks so successful. But like I've had Psychic's been around for 8 years. And I only did it
But it's evolved a lot.
Oh, so much. Like the first few years, I only did it part-time anyway. Like I had other things going on. And then I had 2 young kids, so it was just in coast mode for a while. Like it was working hard. I wouldn't say coast mode actually. But it's probably in the last couple of years, it's been more strategic and scale and like looking at things smarter. And that's probably
changing your business model. Like you were doing so many one-to-one and now you're doing one-to-many. But you've got the resources built out there. You can help more people ultimately.
Totally. And I think that's, I mean, if I look at the most recent best decision, like that's been the best because I was like burning out, trying to fly around and do so much one-on-one stuff. So now it's like having this, the mastermind program and it being very like results and outcome. Because that was always my fear is doing a group thing and it's just another membership you sign up to, right? So we're tracking all people's results and outcomes. So I'm still able to see from like that one-on-one perspective, like we're overseeing the business from a one-on-one perspective, but the content and delivery is in that group format. So that's probably been the best, most recent decision. I mean, I'd agree. Like creating that freedom is probably, that's the best decision. But I'd probably say at some point, and I couldn't tell you what the day was, it was just more deciding to, I suppose, do it in my way. I think you get so lost looking at what other people are doing and should my business look like that? And for me, it's look at that consultancy business or that training company and like what am I striving towards? So probably the best decision was like, no, like what would a business look like that works for me? What's my version of success? So probably that moment of pivot to go, cool, it doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Like it can look like mine.
And who says that's working so well? Like
we don't know. That's the thing. You might look at someone else's and think, oh, like that's amazing. They must be making millions of dollars. And sometimes they're not. Sometimes they are, but sometimes it's not. It's not such a picturesque story as to what you see on the outside. There was even in the real estate space, I remember like about a year ago, there was like a business that everyone would have thought was doing amazing that was completely, pretty much bankrupt and corrupt on the inside. So you just, you hear those stories all the time in our space, like all of the trust fraud and things going on behind the scenes. So anyway, I think that, it's more just, and anyone listening, like if you've got a business, like you can make a decision to go, cool, what do I want it to look like? You know, what's those crazy ideas or ways of doing things that you think, oh, I shouldn't do that or I couldn't do that. And just kind of go, well, give it a try. And you might then have the new best way of doing it that everyone else is looking towards.
Absolutely. Love that.
Love it. Well, lovely chat as always.
Yeah, thanks.
And yes, if you've enjoyed today's episode, please, I always say like. I think you need to subscribe or follow. And then if you have a business friend, business bestie, share it with them. Share the love.
Please.
I was going to be like, share the love because we love love. That's that other podcast. That's
Whose?
We can't steal that one. That's the Laura and Britt.
Oh, yes.
They've got a good podcast.
They do. Yeah.
They say, we love love at the end.
Aww.
We love business.
Lame.
All right. We'll wrap it up there. Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.
Bye.